Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. This is Old Head Podcast. Shouts out to everybody in the damn basketball community. And we are here today to give you a great, a great stream. I will be on early in the morning, cooking style, so we're gonna be ready for that. But anyway, shouts out again to everybody in the basketball community. This is Old Head Podcast, and it is 2:41. They actually open the doors for me to actually get in here. But we are actually here. We just actually going to go ahead and just start the games from last night. The Pacers beat Cleveland 120 to 119. Golden State Warriors also beat Minnesota 99 to 88. Um, I'm just gonna give you my short thoughts of it because I did watch both of these games and I didn't like personally how Cleveland ended the season. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. I just didn't like how they ended the season. And granted, I didn't know Mobley was out. I was watching the game and doing the stream at the same time. And didn't even realize like Evan Mobley wasn't even in the game. You know what I mean? And then they saw him and I'm like, oh, they don't have Darius Garland with a toe, and the Pacers is got a commanding 2-0 lead right now. Halliburton is Mr. Overrated. Um, I've been watching him since he was at Iowa State, and I was saying that he's a good player for this era that he's in right now. So he does have an ugly shot, you know what I mean? But it went in. You have some players that have some very unique ugly styles, but it ain't how you shoot it as long as you get it in the bucket, So we're gonna read down to, we're gonna go over the box scores here on this Wednesday. This is Tuesday's games. Indiana 120 to 19. We're gonna go with Cleveland. No, we're gonna go with the winners. Miles Turner, he was 8 of 17, 35 minutes, 2 of 5 for 3, 5 of 6 on the free throw line. He had 8 rebounds, 2 offensive rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. He did have 5 blocks, 1 turnover. He was a plus 15. Pascal Siakam was 5 of 8 on the field, 29 minutes and 45 seconds, 2 of 5 from the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 turnovers. He had 4 personal fouls. He had 12 points. He was a plus 1. Aaron Nesmith played 33 minutes and 20 seconds, 8 of 13, 61.5%, 5 of 8 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. He had 4 rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 3 blocks. He had 4 fouls, but he was a -2. Andrew Nembhard played 36 minutes and 19 seconds, 5 of 13, 4 from 3, 3 of 5 from the free throw line. He had 5 rebounds, 2 offensive rebounds. He had 7 rebounds, excuse me. 2 offensive rebounds. He had 13 assists. He had 2 steals. He had 8 turnovers. You got to cut them turnovers down. But 8, when you have more than 5, but you know how it is though. Certain players, they show the turnovers. You know what I'm saying? They show turnovers, but certain people they don't show the turnovers. But anyway, then you got Benedict Mathurin. He came out the bench. He had 19. He was a plus 8. He was 6 of 10, 1 of 3 from the 3. Excuse me. He played 19 minutes and 60 seconds. He made all 6 of his foul shots. He had 2 rebounds, 1 offensive rebound, 1 assist. He had 4 fouls. He had 19, and he was a plus 8. TJ McConnell was 2 of 5. He played 13 minutes and 53 seconds, or 1 for 3. He had 3 rebounds, he had 2 assists, he had 1 steal, and he had 3 turnovers, and he had 4 fouls. He was a minus 15. And the Pacers shot 44, 85, 51.8%. There was 11, 28 from 3, 39.3. There was 21 to 29 for the free throw line, 72.4. They had 11 offensive rebounds, 33 defensive rebounds, 44 rebounds. They had 28 assists as a team, 7 steals, 9 blocks. They had 17 turnovers. They had 26 personal fouls as a team. Now we're going to go to Cleveland. It was led by Donovan Mitchell. He played 35 minutes and 48 seconds. He was 15 of 30, 50%. He was 1 of 7 from the 3, which is 14.3%. He was 17 of 21 for the foul line, 81%. He had 5 rebounds, 2 offensive rebounds, 9 assists, 4 steals, 1 block. He had 5 turnovers. He was a plus 13. And then Max Strus was 8 of 18, 5 of 12 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. He had 8 rebounds, 5 offensive rebounds, 4 assists, 2 turnovers. He was in minus 14. Sam Merrill, he was 5 of 10, 4 of 9 for 3, 4 rebounds, 2 offensive rebounds, 2 steals, 14 points off the bench. 14 points. Yeah, he started. No, it was Ty Jerome. Yeah, it was Ty Jerome. Yeah, he did start. But anyway, and did I forget anybody? No. Oh, yeah, Jared Allen was 7 of 9, 37 minutes and 47 seconds, 7 of 9. He was 8 of 8 from the foul line, 11 rebounds, 1 offensive rebound, total of 12, 3 assists, 3 blocks. He did have 4 turnovers. He had 22, but he was a minus 5. Cleveland was 39 out of 90, 43.3%. They shot 11 of 29, 39 from the 3, 28.2. They was 30 of 35 from the foul line, 85.7. They had 14 offensive rebounds. They was plus 3 in that. 29 defensive rebounds, plus 1 for the Pacers in the rebound department. And as far as assists, 24 assists, plus 4 for the Pacers in that regard. And then steals, 11. And they only had 11-7. They only had 7 for Cleveland. And then the blocks was 5. And Indiana had 9 blocks. But I didn't even know. That's why I watch these games. I'm gonna watch them. We watched them again. I'm definitely gonna watch the games from last night. Again, I was able to catch up on them. This morning when I was at work, but I'm gonna look at that again because that's crazy that DeAndre Hunter wasn't even playing too. And again, I'm not in. You got to play who's there. I don't get into easy cakewalks and everything. You got injuries is a part of the game. So I'm not going to take away for what they are doing right now. Because that's just why I don't tear down teams who actually did go to finals. Because I remember Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, they beat the Lakers 89. Magic Johnson, Byron Scott, they won their first championship, and then they ended up playing Clyde to Clyde the next following year, and got their back-to-back. You know what I mean? Solidifying what they did. So to me personally, so got to give them their credit, man. The Pacers, man, they did not quit, and inbound the bat, like straight fundamentals of the game is just. But they say these guys are bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic, and all this and that there. But at the same time, there's a lot of things that I see in these playoffs that's very missing. And anything, it's a straight point guard. But they took those out the game. But anyway, let's talk about Minnesota and Golden State. Golden State was already on the heater. Um, they was already on the heater, man. I don't know who's in the chat, but salute to y'all, whoever's in the chat. But I'm gonna look right quick before as I pull these box scores up for this next one. Salute the real LT, salute Keith, salute Roy Wilson Jr., Daniel Berry's highlights, salute, cheers, brother. Y'all just I don't care what y'all do, man. Just hit the like button, man. I don't care what you anything else. I don't even care about. But anyway, let's go to the next button. Let's go to the Warriors game, and they won 99-88. The leading scorer was Buddy Hield. He was 7 of 19, 5 of 8 from 3, 5 of 5 from the free throw line. He had 8 rebounds, 4 offensive rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. He had 24 points. He was plus 22. He played 39 minutes and 59 seconds. So basically played 40 minutes. Jimmy Butler, 41 minutes and 16 seconds, 7 of 20, 2 of 8 from 3, 4 of 6 from the foul line. 11 rebounds, 7 offensive rebounds, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals. He only had 1 turnover. They actually put in and DeRaymond, who got 2, Mama named him 2 first names, 6-13, 4-10 for 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. He had 4 turnovers. He had 5 fouls. He was 18. He had 18 points. He was plus 11. Then we got Stephen Curry, 12 minutes and 54 seconds, 5 of 9 from 3 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3, 1 rebound. He only had 1 turnover. He had 13 points. It was plus 10 with him in there in the game. And when I watched this first game, I just didn't understand. I just didn't understand what Minnesota was doing. Like I just didn't understand what they was doing. Um, Julius Randle was turning over the ball a lot, man, and everybody very sloppy. It was so sloppy, so sloppy. I never so sloppy. It was very hard to watch. Watching that game. You know, that man couldn't throw it in the ocean. I know a girl was trying to bash him on First Take, whoever was the moderator today. She was trying to bash him. Yeah, I was trying to say this man is the new face of the league and all this and that there. They all, but hey, I don't know who you are. And I'm not on this bandwagon. I'm not, but he's one of them young ones, man. He's one of the young ones. So, you know, y'all always so quick to hit a brother when he's down. Y'all pull up old video of what he said 2 years ago and everything, like he got the bucket list, but everything like that. But by saying all that, they played terrible. They played terrible. And then when they was shooting, there was a point in the game they were shooting over 50% from twos, and they were still jacking up these threes, man. All these teams just left, they jack up threes. They trying to be the Warriors, because that's the thing with Boston Celtics to me. They try to play like the Warriors instead of using their skill set, posting up mid range. That's just a lost art. It just is. If you live by the three, you die by the three. It all looks good when it go in, but it's hard for you to not get stops when your three ball is not falling. You got to go to other aspects of the game. But again, it gets watching these playoffs is hard because this is what they keep saying. They bigger, they stronger, they more athletic. They got whatever they want to say with the extra time. And this ain't no slight to the players though, but this is just my point of view. I still watch it, but at the same time, there's no accountability. There's no accountability across all the way around the board. They pick and choose who gets scrutinized. If you just one player, that's it. I was thinking my boy was just like, man, we almost went through NBA today without mentioning you know who. Yeah, they have to. They have to mention him in some kind of way though too. But it's just what it is. They still have to. You can't even go with a day without mentioning that. And I was surprised first take when Ashley didn't say anything about him today. That was great. They not in the playoffs no more. But I noticed, I'm not on social media like everybody else is. Like they on that Twitch and what's that X, which is Twitter. I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for that. But anyway, let's go to Minnesota. But anyway, let's finish off the stats with them. With the Warriors, they was 34-87 from the field, 39.1%, 18-42 from the 3-point line, 13-15 from the free throw line, 86.7. They had 18 offensive rebounds, 33 defensive rebounds. They actually out rebounded them too, 51. And they had 26 assists. They had 10 steals, 2 blocks. They had 12 turnovers as a team, and they had 18 fouls as a team. Now let's go to the Minnesota Timberwolves. They was led by Anthony Edwards. He was 9 of 22, 1 of 5 from three, 4 or 5 from the line. He had 13 defensive rebounds. He had 1 offensive rebound, total of 14. He had 2 assists. He had 3 steals, 1 block, 3 turnovers. And then second leading scorer was Nas Reed, 8 of 14, 3 of 7 from three, uh, um, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. He did have 4 turnovers. I didn't like the turnovers he had. None of them. They was all out of sorts. They was all out of sorts. And then Julius, and then he was a -5. Anthony Edwards was a -4, and plus minus. And then you got Julius Randle. He was a 4-11, 36.4%. He played 30 minutes and 36 seconds. He was 0-3 from three. He had made all 10 of his foul shots. He had 3 rebounds, 1 offensive rebound. He had 6 assists. He did have 3 turnovers. He was a -4. And then Jaden McDaniel, he was 6 of 12, 0-3 from three. He had 4 rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block. He had no turnovers. And he has a 0. So he was like the only one that didn't have a 0. Everybody else was negative. So there was 34-86 from the field, 39.5. They was 5 of 29 from three, 17.2%. They was 15 to 17 from the foul line, 88.2%. He had They had 12 offensive rebounds, 29 defensive rebounds, 41 total. They was out rebounded by 10. They had 19 assists, 26 assists for the Warriors. They was +7 for the Warriors. Steals 7, 10. There was +3 for the Warriors in that. And then blocks 6-2. There was +4 for Minnesota. But the team as a whole was a -11, -11. So that's how it's going to be for them. That was just one of the worst games I've seen. Do you compare players by position? That's only right. I mean, I honestly, I compare players what position you play, and then again, it's levels to this too because um this era plays so much different compared to the eras in the past and previous eras where the spacing you gotta know how to get to a spot quick, have some multiple options. That's why basketball growing up it just got better and better each year. I don't got LeBron as a top small forward. I don't got Jay Reed as a top small forward. I'm not hating. I know I've been saying I was one of the first people who used to say that I take Larry Bird over Jay Reed. I sure would. Because one thing I know about Larry Bird is he and any other player is they gonna bring it. They ain't gonna throw their teammates under the bus. I don't think he's better than Dr. J. That's just my opinion. I don't see like I don't see Jay Reed like everybody else sees him. I never have. This ain't no hate, but that's just how I feel, man. I ain't changed. I ain't changed when I said that on Ticket Channel. Hey, I'm still gonna say that now. I don't have him up there because again, it's levels to this. It's really levels to this, man. It's so many great small forwards that played this game, and nah, man, just nah. I ain't about to get all into him talking about him. It's about these other teams because he's home doing whatever. You know what I'm saying? Recovering from an NCL injury allegedly. So this ain't he ain't got no dog in the fight. Him and his son, is on. So but tonight's games we got New York Knicks and we got the Boston Celtics and then we got Denver and OKC. I'm going to still stay on my pick. I'm still pick Boston to beat the Knicks and OKC. I'm still gonna ride with OKC. I'm not flip flopping on that. I'm not flip flopping on that. But they gotta have better execution. Um, and you look at Shea Gilders. That's how you know is he shot 51%, right, in the regular season. He only shooting 41%. You know what I'm saying? In these playoffs, you know what I mean? And they guys, I'm still gonna roll with them because I really think the changing of the guard. I know everybody, think Jokic. If Jokic and them get it, that's fine. If they go to the finals, fine. You know what I mean? And yeah, if they get it, fine. You know what I mean? Go to the finals. That's just yet to be determined. But I'm still rolling with OKC. This ain't no hate, even though they are the more experienced team and they won a chip already. But I just feel like I just feel like is it's gonna be one of the ones we've been talking about. We've been talking about SGA. We've been talking about uh, Anthony Edwards. We've been. I know me and my homies have over here. I just feel like it's gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be somebody different this year. Who knows? That just yet to be determined. I'm gonna drop the link. See if I want to come through. Chop it up. Get this thing going. Salute Heckbo. Salute E Dog. I don't know, you must be new in here. You conversating in the chat. One thing we do over here, we don't disrespect legends. If I give you a wrench, we don't block people because they don't agree with your opinion. I know a lot of people disagree with me. I never block the dude you know, because they disagree with my opinion. Hey, it is what it is. You disagree, we don't disagree. So that's just the way it is. I just wait on the homies to come. I'm done saying what I have to say. We're just getting ready here for the game here. I'm off the next 2 days. Yeah, boy. All right. Well, we should wait for everybody to come on in. Don't be afraid. I had a whole lot better day than I had yesterday. That's for sure. Yeah. All we just asked, you get a wrench, I don't mind people supporting, man. Support the channel and everything like that. We have real conversations. We talk about everything over here, but we keep it real. You know what I mean? So just don't abuse your wrench, man. We only get rid of people over here if they really disrespecting legends or anybody from the past. That exactly would not be tolerated. Because I had a little incident before when I first started. People were just blocking a whole bunch of people and stuff like that, and everybody thought it was me. And I'm like, dude, I only had time to be blocking nobody. I don't block nobody now. Why I want to block you? Some people just didn't put two and two together, but you know, they gone and went on to other places, and they came back here and there. They don't even come back no more. They thought the party was gonna be over here, but the party's still going. Shaq ain't better than Wilt. And Shaq is not better than Wilt. Wilt is a athlete. Mm, He was a golden like in like two sports. Like people just don't understand, man. I've been knowing about Wilt since I was young, man. That Wilt was crazy. That is the most dominant dude ever. You can say what you want. Man, Shaq ain't touching nowhere near Wilt Chamberlain, man. And I never forget what somebody told me a long time ago. They was like, just because a player has more rings and you know the other player is just as better as him, but doesn't mean that that player is better. Because Wilt still got 60 records that ain't never been touched, y'all. 60. 60. And they always want to say it's hate. They always want to say it's this. It ain't this. I always beg this question. I always bet this question. What day and what time in history when Jay Reed just passed everybody? Like when he just passed everybody. Everybody else got it out the mud. Some of them was able to, I know not players for who their teammates are, but at the same time, when it comes to Michael Jordan, they chastise him. Oh, he had Scottie Pippen. You had to have somebody. And Pippen and Michael Jordan, they was the best one too. Guards and forward and small forward that I seen. Far as big man and a shooting guard, a center, Shaq and Kobe. I get the edge to Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen because they won 6 of them things. Shaq and Kobe won 3. Those are facts. The last time it was a repeat, it was Shaq and Kobe. But they say this man, and I don't know what, and I also find it very interesting. How can a man that won 5 championship rings in the 2000s, but he wasn't the best player that in that decade? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. They want to say Shaq, okay, but you know what's crazy? Shaq and Kobe only got one MVP. I remember what the top 10 list was about. Then all of a sudden, you know, it's like, like they rewriting his history. Like, man, like y'all wasn't there, wasn't alive, or anything like that. Even when Kobe was that '06 when he averaged 35 and all that. Even when he lost he lost a 3-1 lead. We get all that stuff, man. Trying to prove a point to his coach. I was pissed off about it, but at the same time, people don't understand how good that Phoenix Suns team shouldn't even been down 3-1. But you wasn't alive during those times. The hatred. This is not hatred when you got people like me. Shout out to my boy Too Raw for TV. Rest in peace to my boy LB Sports Political Channel LB. I miss my brother, man. Shout out to my boy Straight to the Point, aka you don't know what time to my boy, man. What's good, man? You already know what it is, man. Brothers like him, my boy Lemon Pepper Lou, my boy Showtime, my boy C Hill, and all the homies that be over here cooking, man. And all the ladies too. Shout out to LeBron is gloat. Shout out to Annie K. Shout out to Aries. She's the mother hen of the channel. Shout out to I said Panama Queen. I said shout out to Gigi. Shout out who else? I can't. Oh my God, I'm just about to say her name too. Oh, shout out to Peachy Brown. Shout out to Tay Tay Brown. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody, man. That really be over here. If you don't, you don't. Just hit the like button. That's all I ever ask y'all to do. Just hit the like button. It's not gonna stop. It's not gonna stop. It's gonna get worse because we got to think about it. Every generation gets worse. You feel what I'm saying? So that's what we're trying to warn the new generation. They call us old heads. They say this. Hey, my name didn't used to be that. It used to be T Price. It used to be T Price podcast, but I changed it to old head. It kind of fits me anyway because they was calling me old when I was young anyway, not knowing my background, who I was always around older people. But anyway, that's not gonna stop. That's not gonna stop. But the thing is, I've been saying this for a while about basketball, about NBA as it is. The NBA is the only sport that I ever seen where it tear down somebody just to make somebody look great. And back then, we was able to really, you know, take players seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like take players, what they said seriously. Nowadays, now you see them players that don't keep that same energy. You know what I mean? You see a lot of players now, they're settling out for that bag. And they everybody's in a cahoots together. They like drumline. They one band and they one sound. But yeah, I respect that you do that, because there's honestly, there's some shout out to my boy S Young and shout out to my boy Zeddy. There is some there's people that's running ways that be up here cooking, and they know the history. You know what I mean, and they respect it. You know what I mean. But we living in a time now where respect is it started when I was in my teens, when they started taking prayers out of schools. They start doing that. They took God out of everything. Once they took God out of everything, that was all she wrote. Then they tell you that you can't discipline and beat your kids. Yeah, that jump been going. It ain't just done. And that's why a lot of these kids now, even kids that do have I know kids that both had their mother and their father. You know what I mean? And they still off the chain. You know what I mean? Wild with it. You know, and very disrespectful. Like, you know what I mean? And they come from a good home. You know what I mean? But the only thing is because the kid was just so tied up in the streets. But he realized it. Now he changed his life around. Shout out to my homeboy, but yeah, I need to check on him. I need to check on my boy's son, man. He was out there bad, man. I told him. I told him. I sat down. I told him. I'm like, dude, that life, that is not what you want to do, man. That is not what you want to do. That is not what you want to do. You got parents that really support you in everything that you do. Everything. I'm like, man, I was telling him, I was just relating to him. Like, man, I wish I had the love. I had that tough love, like really tough love. If I had what you had, man, he finally snatched out of his senses. Now he's, doing something with himself. But shout out to my homie, man, because he hit me up out the blue before I started my stream. And I messaged him, told him I'll message him back because I was just thinking about his son. I know his son's birthday is coming up. I think his son's birthday on Mother's Day. But anyway, I'll just drop the stream, see if anybody coming in. If not, I'll go solo dolo. I ain't got nothing to do today. Nothing. Mhm. Yeah, but if you're young, just continue just like I have both my father. Oh, okay. Yeah. Then again, like I see where you're coming from with that because I know some friends, people that I knew, no matter what, wherever I lived at, they always had them parents that didn't believe in spanking their kids. One wanted to spank and the other one didn't. And as the saying goes, is that every kid don't need to be spanked, allegedly. You know what I mean? But everybody got different ways of discipline. Then you got some people that got spanked, that got beat down. I know I did. I think I got the most in history. You know what I mean? And when you see spankings, beat downs, you'll see my face. Oh yeah, I used to get beat down. You know what I mean? But that never changed me. That never, yeah, it made me rebel whole lot because a lot of beat downs I know I didn't deserve. But it was just what it is, what it is. But at the end of the day, it made me a stronger person, made me a whole lot wiser, constant in my decisions. I- I'm very short with people. You know what I mean? I carry my way a certain way. I know I work in a community, so people know me when I'm out anywhere. I'm nice. I'm dressing nice. I'm just like how I am. That's how I always know how to carry myself the right way. You know what I mean? And now that every year where I work at, I see more black people moving out here. I seen some today. It's like, hey, bro, like, hey, I've been living here since you the only black person I seen. I'm like, man, it's a lot of y'all moving out here. They ain't used to be that many. There's a few that stay here, one of my New York homies, but other than them, they got so many black people here now. Then like I all told them was like, you just gotta keep your head on the swivel. Cause these people mouth, they very loose. They very loose, and they act like they don't have. They act like people here act like they can say stuff to you, and just and then you respond back, and then they act like like they start pulling the Karen kind of thing. You know what I mean? I agree with that punching and yeah, that is abusive. Punching. Yeah, I get that spanking. Nah, nah. I got home. I know people. I know homeboys that um like with when they daughters and everything like that. Daughters they stop at a certain age. You know what I'm saying? But they made sure that from the beginning. I learned this from my mom. If you by the time a baby's born to all the way to its 5 years old, if you don't install discipline during those times, and by the time they hit 5 years old, it's like 99.9% guaranteed you are not going to be able to change that kid. You're not. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. It's just what it is. That's why it's like you just got to do what you got to do and continue to just be better. Be better in your decisions. Be better than you know who's around. I know a lot of people like crews and cliques and all that. I never got into all that stuff because people are always gonna pick and choose anyway. If you ain't on their level anyway, and I'm always been the type person I ain't gotta press nobody just to hang around, try to look. Man, I ain't got time for all that. I'm a grown man. Salute, Cottage. We just waiting for these games to come on tonight. That's what we waiting on. Oh, but think about now. We just gonna go back, but man, I watched the game last night, man. Stephen Wardell Curry, man. Hey, that hurts right there. That hurt. That hurt. That hurt. That hurt. But as the saying goes, right? That's why they got Jimmy there, right? So, and one thing I never understood about Steve Kerr is that he actually got great players on his bench. You know what I mean? But he don't use them until he don't use them to emergency reasons. Like I just ain't never understood that about him because when you got young, that's why the earlier Warriors teams, even though he gets all the credit for it, but Mark Jackson built that team. He built that team. Let me give you another great example. What's that dude's name? Oh my gosh, what's that dude's name? He was a coach of the what was his name? Oh, what's his name? I need to look it up. What's his name? The dude that used to coach the he was coaching the Raptors. Casey, Coach Casey. They got rid of Casey and then they put in Nick Nurse and boy, they won the championship the next year. The man was building that team. They just ran into Jay Reed and his super team, which they don't think that was a super team. Yeah, like none of his teams was a super team. You know, I I never understood in my life that we tear down competition. Wherever that's why like all these great players, there's so many stats that actually go around and round and round. There's levels to this, man. Yeah, Dwayne Casey. Yeah, Coach Casey. Yeah. I just couldn't think of his first. I knew it started with a D. Yeah, that's why I said Coach Casey. Appreciate that, College. Yeah, Dwayne Casey, man. He sat there and laid that foundation for that Raptors team. And then boom, you get Nick Nurse, and then you get Kawhi. That team was already good, though. It really was. That team was literally knocking on the door. Cause you remember they got rid of DeRozan. But yeah, y'all, it's 3:30. Y'all hit that like button for your boy, man. Salute to my boy Tony Angel. Salute, man. I'm going solo dolo tonight. I dropped the link if anybody want to come in and chop it up. You don't want to chop it up, that's fine. See what time these game coming on out here. Oh yeah, if you want to donate to the podcast, you can drop it in. I'll drop it in the chat. If not, the show goes on anyway. Dude, yo, you think Dwayne Casey better than Mike D'Antoni in your opinion? Yeah, I've never was a fan of D'Antoni. Like especially when he came to coach of the Lakers. Lakers had some real coaches, man, in Kobe's time, man. They had to Phil Jackson, so um, you know, Dwayne was Casey, he was yeah, to me I think he's a better coach than I've never been a fan of D'Antoni. And after he coached the Lakers, that solidified it for me. I don't want to go in there. Back out of that. Nah, as my boy Will Strong say, get D'Antoni up out of here. I couldn't stand him when he coached the Lakers. Yeah, because the game coming on at 4. So I'll be here doing it. Might as well sit here and do the game then. New York. I got dinner cooking. I got dinner going. And then the coach talking about he was going to continue to hey shoot, you live by the 3, you die by the 3, man. And I don't understand it. You got two of the best players at that wing position at the spot. I think both of them play the same position. I couldn't stand D'Antoni with it, man. D'Antoni up out of here. D'Antoni has so many great teams. He has so many good teams. It just that because y'all remember, I remember because Phoenix, because Joe Johnson, when he got hurt again against us in that Spurs series, I thought they that year they was actually was going to it was actually was actually going to make a run for it, but allegedly, but like you said, you can't rewrite history. So, but they love to try to write history in front of our faces. It's crazy. Oh, who's my opinion? The best player at every position? Oh man, that's hard, man. Like that is so hard for me to even say because when I think of point guards, I think of there's just so many players I could throw out there. I could say Magic. Um, um, I could say Isaiah. A lot of people don't give him respect. Isaiah, like I say, point guards, a lot of them. Oscar Robertson, the Big O. Um, you can't forget about what's his name? Yeah, a lot of great point guards. Walt Frazier, and then you had I could just go on and on like point guards. John Stockton. Um, Man, there was just so many of them, man. That's nice shooting guards. I'm just just giving a little bit. Then I'm gonna have to really like do a deep dive in that, researching wise, because like I said, it's so many greats. Everybody think Magic Johnson is the greatest point guard, but even though they try to say Steph Curry is, but Steph Curry is not a he's not a point guard. He's a shooting guard. Yeah, Magic was 6'9". Yeah, Magic was 6'9". Yeah, Magic was 6'9". Yeah, Magic was 6'9". And then if I say shooting guards, I gotta say, Mike up there, Kobe's up there. I used to love Clyde Drexler. A lot of people don't want to respect him. Even past one, Sam Jones. Um, uh, my boy Sidney Moncrief. Oh yeah, I forgot. Point guards Alvin Robinson. I can't forget about Alvin Robinson. That was the best defender I ever seen in my life. And you go for y'all young bucks. Go look up Alvin Robinson, man. He was a beast, man. He went to prison for something he didn't even do.
Did you put Nate Archibald on that list?
Hey, I just gave a few people on there. Like I said, you could continue on. Nate Archibald. I know you're gonna name some players that I forgot. Like I said, so many great players that play every position. That's why it's hard for me to say who's really best at that position. But I know they do it in basketball and football and all that. But I just I just think it's just disingenuous to do that because you got so many great players in every single era, especially the old school era that
Yeah.
don't get their props that they supposed to. That's like people like me and we got somebody new, just join. You know what I'm saying? I gave he's 24. You know what I'm saying? So you know you don't disrespect the old era, but shout out to him, man. We just in here chopping it up. And my boy Chess, what's good, Chess?
Real Lil T, what up?
E Dog, yeah, E Dog, just chopping up E Dog.
Out of JD1, what up?
Yeah, shoot, man, it's just a lot of shooting guards because I remember growing up, you had Isaiah, Isaiah Point. My shooting guards, I have
Joe
to say
Dumars.
Magic. Oh, I was just gonna say Joe Dumars was another one. I said Mike. I
Byron
said
Scott.
Kobe, Byron Scott. Oh, I can't forget my boy Reggie Miller, Mitch
Yeah, yeah.
Richmond.
Yo, listen,
There's
those are
so
two
many of them.
those are two shooting guards, dog, that don't get enough love. Like people don't know Rich Mitchell increased his scoring average every year in the league.
He sure
And
did.
and Reggie was just a killer. Like, yeah, no, Reggie was a cold blooded killer, man.
Yeah, he
Mike
was.
had respect for Reggie, yo. Like everybody, Reggie was a killer, dog. Like you got to figure he didn't have him a chip. Think about he had to go through Mike just to get to the chip, and then when he got there, it was Kobe and Shaq waiting on him.
Hmm.
And you
I'll be
got to
right
think
back,
about
bro.
he's another one who didn't have a perennial all star running with him. He was the pilot and the wingman. He was the pilot and the wingman. He had good role players around him. Them Davis boys. I mean, the Duncan Dutchman. He was tough. Now, I mean, he had the point guard, Mark Jackson. That's why I ain't gonna front. I would have liked to see him win one with them young boys when he had Jermaine O'Neal and Steven Jackson and Ron Artest. You feel me? Leave what down? Uh, yes, but it was definitely some cold two guards back in the day, man. You really think about it, like it was some cold two guards, man. Some cold players, period. But yeah, a lot of people don't. A lot of two guards don't get the respect they deserve. I'm gonna tell you one who used to shoot niggas' eyes out. He don't get a lot of love, but he was tough as nails. Like I look at him when I look at the Vernon Maxwells and all that other world. That motherfucker Hershey Hawkins, and Hershey was cold. Hershey was definitely cold, man. Shoot your eyes out. He'll shoot your eyes out. Hershey was a dog. Nah, Ray Allen ain't better than Reggie Miller because I'm gonna tell you why, E dog. Reggie Miller led two teams. Reggie Miller led a team to the finals, bro. Reggie Miller kept a franchise on his back. Ray Allen went down. He went and became a role player after the big three, but Reggie Miller held Indiana down on his back for years. And the East, when the East was tough. Like, think about that. Think about where Indiana went with Reggie's career and whatever team you want to say Ray Allen led, because I don't think he led the Bucks. That was big dog team. He was in the driver's seat in Seattle for a little while. But overall, to me, Reggie clipped Ray. Reggie clipped Ray to me. But Ray was tough. Yeah, Scotty definitely fumbled that bag, Jeff. Who was a better coach, Pat Riley or Greg Popovich? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. But I would probably want to play for Pop because he a player coach, but I can't ignore what the great one did though. Pat Riley, a hell of a coach. He just strict as fuck. But they running neck and neck. I ain't mad whoever. That's a tough one. Got it. Mm-hmm. Tony, what up, bro? Yes, you like Pat Riley? I mean, what they both ended with as coaches? What, 5 chips apiece? Pat did go back to back, so maybe I'll give him the advantage over that. But Greg Popovich never went back to back. I mean, if you think about what Greg Popovich had to go through, shit. He had to go through Weber and them. He had to go through Stoudemire and Nash, Kobe and Shaq. He had to put it out there. But that ain't no excuse because Pat Riley had a rough road too. You say in the harder era, but think about how was the West loaded when San Antonio went on a run, bro. Think about all the teams that was in the West that San Antonio had to potentially beat or potentially beat to get to the finals. Think about that. That West was crazy, and Tim Duncan and Popovich definitely navigated their way through it about 5 different times. So, I mean, if you look at it like that, yeah, heck, boy, I got to go with you on that, man. Reggie was a killer. Yeah, Pop coached a little longer, but I don't knock what Pat Riley did down there with New York and Miami either. Because remember, man, that nigga ran into Jordan, bro. But that gauntlet that Pop had to go through in the West, that shit wasn't nothing to sneeze at. Yeah, that wasn't nothing to sneeze at, dog. That was some heavy metal in that day. Anybody who can say they got 5 chips in the Kobe and Shaq era, that's tough, especially in their conference. That's tough. But I ain't gonna front. What Pat Riley did was tough too. And he had teams waiting on him in the East with Philly, Boston, Detroit. Like, you know what I mean? Ended it with Chicago in '91. So Pat Riley, his tenure was crazy too. His 10 years, 11 years, whatever the fuck he had. Rouse was a monster. Definitely. Miami State overachieved. That's right. Miami did overachieve, but you got to think that was them teams with Sean Leonard and Mourning, and I loved those teams. Those Miami teams was tough. My boy, shout out to Vashawn Leonard, Tim Hardaway. Classic battles in the '90s with them, with New York. Remember my boy P.J. Brown dumped Charlie Ward on his head, like literally picked this nigga up and slammed him on his fucking head. Hey, yo, T. Price, Trey backstage, bro, if you can hear me. Yeah. He got. So what that give Pat? How many did I give Pat Riley? He won 5 with the Lakers and 1 with. Yep. So that give him 6. You're right. He was that coach. That wasn't Eric Spoelstra. That was Pat Riley. Talking G, I ain't taking nobody over Jerry West as a GM. Nobody over the great late Jerry West. Yep, so that's 5 with the Lakers, 1 with Miami. That's 6 as a head coach. That's right. That's a fact, Cottage. They did fire Stan Van Gundy. That's a whole fact, bro. Man. That KJ dunk on Olajuwon, I had that poster, bro. Base-handed, baseline, left-handed. That was crazy. I watched that game live, but I had that poster. KJ was one of my favorite point guards in the league. Like, that was back when Magic and him was playing. I loved Kevin Johnson. Yo, he was a monster.
All right, I'm back. But yeah, you said something about Hershey Hawkins. Man, Hershey Hawkins was that dude. That's let the Hawks shoot. Like I keep telling these, they had so many great shooters back in the day, man. Like that Hershey Hawkins shoot 10 3-pointers a game. Hawk was that dude. Hershey Hawkins was, man, he was the business. And he was automatic. He was automatic from the free throw line too. He was automatic. Yeah, Dale Ellis is another one. You already know, Chess. You know Dale Ellis could shoot that thing. And he was a 3 point, and he was in the 3 point contest. You know, man, you know that's our childhood. Oh yeah, I was just talking about him yesterday. Dana Barros. Oh yes, sir, Dana Barros, man. Dana Barros, man. I remember watching him at Boston College. That Dana, I see you, Ron Time. Oh yeah, Dana Barros was a beast. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was Boston College.
Yeah, I'm just Boston College. What do you think of players shooting so many three? It's just what the game is today. They want to change. They just want to change. They want to change it, just like football changing, took away defense, so it could be more scoring. And then when it comes to playoffs, it's a different animal. It's different set of rules, old school rules. So we'll see. That's what that's what they want to do. A lot of things mess the league up. Analytics, these stat guys, analytics is wrong with the game. They got a lot of bad coaches in this league. They got rid of the coaches. They got rid of the point guards. They got rid of the big man. But they praise one big man. Jokic is a monster, but I still don't have him up there with all the great ones. Because they went against somebody every single night. There was no days off back then in any position, new generation, any position back in the day was no off nights. It was none. You had to bring it every single night. That what made the game so great when we was watching it. When I was watching it back in the day, you had to bring it. Yeah, I don't. Man, yeah, I couldn't stand D'Antoni, man. I never liked the D'Antoni. I he was one of the first coaches man. Yeah, it was no off nights back in the day. You already know, no off nights. No, you had to bring it every night. You had to. And players back then too, they brought it. They brought it in exhibition, preseason. They set the standard. They set the tone. That's where teams always got off to great starts. Every team, and think about it, every team had different playing styles back then. Everybody now play just alike. Oh, Rick Carlisle or Jerry Sloan? Ooh, I got to go with That's a tough one, man. Cause Jerry Sloan, I can't compare them two. But Jerry Sloan, rest in peace. He was a legend. He was a legend. He was a legend, man. Then he had Darren Williams, and then he had Carlos Boozer. Sloan was a good basketball player in his own right. A lot of people don't know that either about Jerry Sloan. He was a ball player, played for the Bulls. Yes, yeah, Jerry Sloan. Yes, sir. Just yeah. If you got 2K, look it up. You look up all time Bulls. I guarantee you see Jerry Sloan. You're gonna see Reggie Theus. You're gonna see Mike. You're gonna see Pippen. All that go on 2K. All it should be like that. Yeah, Sloan was a beast, man, and he played guard. That's why him and John Stockton had a great relationship because they both was guards, point guards.
Did you see Troy was in the backstage?
Yeah, I let him in. He fell out.
Oh,
I saw him. Now I'm gonna drop the link. Anybody want to come in? Don't forget Bob Love. Oh yeah, Bob Love. You already know Rick Adelman, artist. Oh, of course, artist Gilmore. Man, that's another dude. That's another dude. Don't get another. That's another dude. Don't get enough credit either. Artist Gilmore. Lord have mercy. Elton Brand was nice for his time. Elton Brand was nice. He was. I mean, he played for. I remember him as that Duke. He said 2K is filled with micro transactions and it's expensive. I don't do the micro. I don't pay for nothing on 2K. I just get the old school. I get the old school Lakers, or I get the all time Lakers. That's like the only two teams I play with, and I go against everybody in the NBA in today's league. I remember when 2K first, like when they first started integrating the old past teams, past eras, and put it in the game. And they make it seem like these dudes were so much bigger and stronger and all that stuff. Because now they don't change it up a whole lot, but back then, boy, yeah, he played with the Clippers. Yeah, he played Elton Brand. Elton Brand been, hey, Elton Brand was nice, man. I remember him at Duke. You know, he's a Dookie. Oh man, the best 2K. The one with Kobe. I like the one. I like the one with man. There's a couple of them like the one with Kobe on there. I like the 2011 one, the one with MJ. That one was official. The graphics and everything like that. That was official. And then 2K10 before then, that was one of my favorites. Though too. Um, and then I had to, in my opinion, I had to say um, um, 2K17. That was a good one too. Then my favorite three. Then my favorite three. NBA Live. If we say NBA Live, man, I love every single one of NBA Lives.
Live 95 for the Super Nintendo is the greatest one.
Yeah, yeah. And then you remember when they started putting the animation in there, in there. Yeah, I remember NBA Live 01,
You know,
02,
the
03.
contest and all that stuff.
Yes. And you know how it was back in the day with NBA Live, man. You say 2K11, 12, 13. Yeah, I forgot about 2K12. Hey, yeah, matter of fact,
You
I
gotta
got
remember.
2K12
You
too.
gotta. You
That's
gotta
when that's
remember.
when Russell Westbrook was unstoppable. He was
2K.
unstoppable. And he had a
2
MIDI. And he had a MIDI in them
2K
years.
wasn't it at first. It was NBA Live, but the dude who designed Live ended up leaving EA Sports and went and signed
The 2K.
with
Yep.
2K, and that's when
I remember
2K
that.
took off. That's when 2K took off, and Live became shit.
Man, NBA
The
Live
same
was
dude who designed the shit. Yeah, he designed that shit and left EA Sports and then went over to whatever 2K under and signed with them and built that up. Cause
yeah,
I
because the
used to
first one that was on that used to be, yeah, I see your heck, Bo. I start playing 2K Dreamcast. Yeah,
yeah,
because
that's
Allen
when I started
Iverson was
playing. That's the year Glenn Rice was with the Lakers, 2000.
mm-hmm.
That was the 2K, 2000. Because I remember my cousin used to play with Glenn Rice. That was Afro Kobe in them, and he used to be like, every time he shoot and hit a three, he used to be like, "Swell up, Rice. Swell up, Rice."
No, we love Russell Westbrook, bro. We don't take down so much. He said Russ 2017 MVP season was underrated. Look at the players he was dealing with on that team. Um, let me go
Steven
to
Jackson in them. Go to the roster. That was Steven Jackson in them. I mean, not Steven Jackson, Steven Adams.
Steven Adams. I'm about to go to. I'm about to pull it up right now. Okay. right, we go to 2016-17 Thunder. They was 47-35 that year. They lost in the first round.
They was
Billy
like the
Donovan.
fifth or sixth seed, right?
Mm-hmm. 2016-17 season was Alex Abrines. He was a rookie. Steven Adams, that was his third year from Pitt. Semenjai Christian, he was a rookie, 6'3" from Xavier. Norris Cole,
Yep.
6'2", 5 years, Cleveland State. Nick Collison,
Yep.
6'10", out of Kansas. Enos Freedom, Canner. It was Enos Canner, basically.
Cannon, yep.
6'10", 5 years, Kentucky. Taj Gibson, he was 6'9". Now he was in the seventh season at USC. You had Jeremy Grant out of Syracuse, 6'7". He was in his second year. Then you had Josh. I remember him. He played for Stanford. Hustis. He was 6'7". Somebody just beat then. That's Ron John again. What happened? You got kicked out? I know I ain't booed nobody out, man. But I'd almost finished with the roster. Then you had that Iran Ilasovia, 6'9", out of Turkey. He was in his eighth year. Then had Jeffrey Lavergne out of France. That was his second season. Doug McDermott, 6'6". He was in his second season out of Creighton. Anthony Morrow out of Georgia Tech. He was in his eighth season. Victor Oladipo. He was in his third season out of Indiana. Cameron Payne, Murray State. He was in his that's going to his that's his first year. So basically, Andre Roberson, Colorado. He was in his third season. They had rookie Domantas Sabonis out of Gonzaga. They had Kyle Singler out of Duke. And he was there. That was his fourth season. And Russell Westbrook, he was in his eighth season out of UCLA. A lot of people don't know Domantas Sabonis started off at OKC. That's crazy.
Yeah, he came out of Gonzaga.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me and but a lot of people don't don't be watching college like how we watch it.
I told him, I said, yeah, John Stockton, him, and maybe Chet Holmgren, the only players I know that really made it out of Gonzaga.
Ryan Turioff.
Well, yeah, but Ronnie didn't become a household name. You had to be a real hoop head to know Ronnie Turioff. I'm talking about them niggas came out of Gonzaga. For as good as the college program as that is, them dudes came out and made household names of themselves in the NBA. You feel me?
Yeah.
They always had players get drafted. All right, look at Adam Morrison. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
He was crazy in college.
Because the last person that we know other than Danny Ainge was Jimmy Fredette.
That's a fact. And that's I should have put my.
I got you, Ron.
My apologies. But yeah, the Danny Ainge, because yes, he also from Gonzaga too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, JJ went to Duke. He won a chip. He did play in the NBA Finals. Yeah, Turv had that heart issue. Yeah, he did. Hey, one of my favorite Kobe commercials, man. One of my favorite TNT. The TNT always had them classical moments though. When Kenny the Jet Smith put on the Kobe's and he was trying to jump over the car like Kobe did. And it was actually Ernie Johnson that ran him over with the car. That jump was funny. That was right after a playoff game. I remember that. That was funny. Kobe has some funny commercials, man. His commercials was funny as hell.
Why you ain't go look up on that money?
Yeah, Turioff was a beast. He was a beast, man. He was a good energy guy. Tough. He's one of the big men that you need to have on your team. I just miss back in the day they had two or three of them mugs. Now you only got one on each team. They need to have multiple enforcers. Get it back how it used to be. Now imagine y'all they sit there and play 90 style defense all year long. Then you really see what these dudes is really made about. You dig what I'm saying? There's the Boston Celtics trying to redeem themselves. As my boy Ill Will used to say, the Knicks is back. Then they stole my boy's stuff and they're gonna sit there. Shaq, is the Knicks back? The Knicks is back. It was a good playoffs because look at all the teams that was after. Even though Miami got blown out, but all the Eastern Conference powerhouse we was going, they actually made it to the playoffs. Even though Miami got shellacked, but you had Miami, you had New York, and you had Cleveland, and you had New York. And here they go, and they go off. Miniman, Jalen Brunson dribbling, he gets a screen.
Man, Boston
Josh Hart.
Celtics. Listen, man, Boston Celtics, ice cream melted or Chex Trail mix. New York in 5.
Oh, and Anunoby said he's on fire. And Drew Holiday attacks the paint. He gets a layup over Brunson. Just use his height out of UCLA. Brunson out of Villanova, two-time national champion. Give it to Bridges. Bridges looking, he attacking Horford. He drives baseline, reverse layup, no good. And here comes White. White to Tatum. Tatum looking, gets to Jaylen Brown. He jab steps, pump fakes, he drives, attacking the basket. He shoots, gets it rejected, gets his own rebound. Tatum sets it to a 3. No. Gives to Drew Holiday. He steps back 3-pointer. That is way off. And another offensive rebound. Horford for 3. That is way off. 3-2. Here's Bridges.
Looks like they're picking up where they left off last game.
That's a bad call. That was clearly off the Celtics' foot right there. That was clearly off a boy's foot right there. But they gave it to Boston. Boston up 3-2. And they shoot another 3-pointer. Lord, they said, the coach said, we're going to live by and die, but he said they ain't changing nothing.
Okay, well, I hope you ready to die, motherfucker. Y'all like 0 for 6 right now from the 3.
That's all these teams shoot threes. Look how bad Anthony shot last night, bro.
Look, Derek White, you shoot so many threes, you can't even make a finger roll.
Oh my goodness. His Bridges jab step.
I swear to God, they should have a NBA award called Dog of the Year. I think Josh Hart will win that motherfucker, bro.
Oh yeah.
Josh Hart, a dog. He do everything, bro.
And Anunoby do too, but
yeah, he don't do it on the level of Josh though. Josh, dog.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Tatum steps into a 3. You gonna make that, man? Stop threes, man.
Damn, Tatum. Hey, that nigga missed the whole rim.
Man,
look at I told you, two bro, niggas 1 for 8.
Yeah, bro.
And only down 1 point. That's crazy.
Man, that's why I didn't understand Minnesota last night. You see, you had the dominant end. You dominant in the paint.
You want to get in your chair?
Attack the paint, man. The other team, they just still jack up 3-pointers, jack up 3-pointers, jack up 3-pointers. Man, Karl Anthony Towns from Kentucky misses. Here comes Jason Tatum. Tatum feed Jrue Holiday down low. He scores again on Brunson. Deep post position. And Holiday got all 4 points for the C's. There's Bridges. He gives it to Brunson. Brunson gets a screen from Hart. Brunson playing with the dribble. 3-ball.
They do is dribble the fucking air out the ball.
Man, I know I can't stand dudes that do that either. And they call a foul on Brunson that time. That's why I say you don't have no real coaching no more, man. They actually put point guards, man. I've been saying this too, man.
They're pounding the ball for 17, 18 seconds. Like, that shit is crazy.
That's what. Hey, we can name a lot of players do that.
Shit, Luka, LeBron.
Mm-hmm. And then when you do pass it, when they do pass, they got like 5 or 4 seconds. Like, how are you gonna expect somebody to get a shot off in 5 or 4 seconds? Sometimes it be 3-2. It all depends on what depends on it.
Damn, Galen, what the fuck was you doing?
Man, all these bad shots, it's only 4-3. All these 3-point attempts they shooting.
They reduced our NBA to.
Mm-hmm. They know feeding the big man, let him score down low, play inside out. Trying to see that's a clear path foul.
Mm-hmm.
Why you get 2 free throws? What did they call?
Take a clear path. Yeah.
I thought you get 1 free throw for clear path.
I thought it was 2 on the ball. I thought you got 1 for the take.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're right. It all depends on the moment though too.
Mm-hmm.
Because most teams I've seen they got 1, unless certain teams you get 2 no matter what, even though you don't deserve to. They down 5-0. Josh Hart for 3.
They down. How is it 5-0?
I got 5-0 on my end. You must be early.
Nah, nigga, but New York don't score. The game was just 3-2, bro. The game was just 3-2 before Boston.
Dude, they took the 3 away. They said and Ginobili was out of bounds or something. They were saying.
Well, see, I missed that.
Scoreboard. Yeah, it's coming.
See the scoreboard. That's what I'm like. How the fuck is that possible?
Yeah, I got 7-0 on my end.
Yeah, I do too, but I specifically remember New York being up 3-2.
Yeah, they looked at the play and took the 3-ball away. Well, salute, Matt. Cooking Spoke Sports, salute.
He probably gonna have to play in the next Olympics.
Who's gonna have to play the next Olympics?
Karl Anthony. Well, he played. Did he play for Puerto Rico? Right.
I forgot who he played for.
I don't think he can. Yeah, he already done played for somebody else.
Karl Anthony Towns got the offensive rebound. They was looking like, dang, pointing at each other.
I'm big man. Like shit.
Oh
And
yeah,
Bam,
that's another one. Oh yeah, big. You talking about Big Al Jefferson? Oh, Al Jefferson was man. He was a good player too.
and that bitch was nothing but a right hand. He
Mm-hmm.
ain't
You
even
couldn't
attempt to
stop
use the left. That bitch getting to his right no matter what.
Jalen Brown with a layup to the lane and a foul on Josh Hart. They gonna need Josh Hart. Josh Hart can't get in foul trouble. That's they
Ooh.
Swiss Army knife. Yeah, he played for the Dominican. Thanks, Chess. He played for the Dominican Republic. Said playoff Rondo is my favorite player of all time. Hey, that's your opinion. Yeah, you respect that. Rondo was a beast though. Rondo was no joke. Rondo was that dude. I can't compare Giannis to Jokic. I mean, not. No, I mean Giannis to Dirk. They are two different. Way too different skill sets. I can't even compare them two. I can't compare them two. 'Cause Dirk was a beast though. Shoot that one leg and fade away, nothing you can do. Yeah, I can't compare them two. That's not a good comparison to me because Giannis can't shoot and can't make free throws, and Dirk had a post game, all that stuff. So Giannis like Jay Reed to me. Yeah, Dirk plays small forward, right? Yeah, yeah. Even though they list him as power forward, you know what I mean. But I remember Dirk played small forward. Yeah, Dirk was a beast though. Yeah, Dirk was like KD. A lot of people don't know. They just remember Dirk. It all depends on how old, what I'm saying, these people are. Even when we tell the new generation to go look at games and series and everything like that, they can't. They a lot of them can't even put their minds in around how the game was. They wasn't there. They wasn't there in that moment. They wasn't there in real time. Well, we was actually living in those times to actually see that. Sorry, the Scooby Snacks has arrived. The Celtics up by 9. Bridges, jumper, short, tip out to Tatum. Here's Tatum. Looking, give it to White. He shoots a three, and he makes it. He's on fire. It's Brunson. Steps into a jumper off the glass. No good. Good contest by White. Hit Jason Tatum. Peyton Pritchard for three. No good. Sixth man of the year. Here's Josh Hart. Knicks down by 12. Here's Anunoby to the lane. Give it to Josh Hart. Bridges. Oh, he tried to reverse layup. No good. Celtics out. They're 6-11. And Jaylen Brown tried to try to jump over him. And he caught an offensive foul. He tried to put Jalen Brunson on a poster. Yeah, he was waiting on him. He stared at us like, you want to stand there? That was a smart play right there. You got a 16-4 ball game. Nice alley-oop to Mitchell Robinson. He tips it, miss it. We got a 16-4 game. Here come Peyton Pritchard. Oregon Ducks. Here's White crossing over in the paint. Gets it. Layup. Oh, Connect missed the layup out of Vanderbilt. And Josh Hart, he's on fire. Finally hit a three-pointer. Knicks only down by 9. Here's Jason Tatum. Crossover. Attacking. Oh, he missed the layup. Yeah, Mitchell Robinson beat him, but didn't finish the layup. Here's Anunoby to Mitchell Robinson. He throw it down. That's the late great Bill Waltons would just say. Throw it down. We got a 16-9 ball game. Here's Jaylen Brown. Give it to White. He steps into another three, and he is on fire. There, White's 3 or 4. He has 8 points. Here's Brunson. Dancing, gets a screen. Looking, gets a strip. Good defense right there by the C's. Here's Jason Tatum with the push off. He still missed a layup, screaming for a foul. Peyton Pritchard with the offensive rebound, and he throws it out of bounds. That should be Knick basketball. Did they call a foul? Did they call a foul on Bridges? They sure did. Like, share, subscribe, y'all. We'll be back. Hey, Chess, you right. Man, he was trying to end him, boy. He gave him that look like, you really gonna stand right there? What you say? He said Brunson is Puma off Lion King. I'm dead. He said, imagine if the Spurs still had Derek White. I know, right? Players in this era, when they retire, they got so many jerseys you can buy from. They don't play for so many teams. There ain't no disrespect. It's just the truth. And so far, Jason Tatum is 0 of 3 from the field, 0 1 for 3. Jaylen Brown's 2 of 6, 0 1 for 3, 0 1 for the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. He has 2 turnovers. Jason Tatum's already got 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. Derek White is 3 of 4, 2 of 2 from the line. He has 1 rebound. Defensive 1, offensive rebound, total of 2. He has 1 block. Then for the Knicks, Carlton Towns is 2 of 3. He has 5 rebounds, 1 offensive rebound. He has 4. Josh Hart has got 3 and 1 and 2, 1 rebound. That's basically it. And Mikal Bridges is 0 of 4. Jalen Brunson is 0 of 4. He's shooting 23.5% and 25% from the free throw line. Lord have mercy. The Celtics are 8 of 21. They 2 of 7 for 3-point range. And they 1 of 3 from the line. Oh yeah, Castle and Derek White. Yeah. Oh man, that'll make TY TV happy, boy. That'll have been so dope to see. But he's with the C's. This is why people criticize super teams, right? I'm going to answer your question. Super teams has always been a part of the league. I'm going to say it again. Super teams has always been part of the league. You got to think about it. If you do your due diligence, you go look back. After the George Mikan Minneapolis Lakers, when they actually became, and then the NBA, then the Celtics with Bill Russell, he played with all number Hall of Famers. On every player that Bill Russell played with had made the Hall of Fame. Because back then it was less teams, and back then you only had to play 1 round. But they did it through the draft. It was organic. They did it organically, not forming and teaming up like Jay Reed did. You know what I mean? And dumbing down the competition. You know, making it weak. And you got to think about it. When he played, even though this the same guy, and this the same guy that sit there and say that, you know, that they didn't have a super team. As Mitchell Robinson get an offensive rebound. Derek White was going to be on his way, though. Derek White was a good player. He was going to be good with the Spurs no matter what. Derek White was going to be one of the players no matter where. If he would stay in San Antonio, I guarantee he would have been a good player. He's one of them guys that you need on your team. When you got a player like him that can score and that can defend, then the best players you can have on your team, in my opinion. And think about it too. When he got drafted at the time with the Spurs wasn't a good team. But people saw the potential in Derek White though. And it's a 24-13 ball game. It's 4.8 seconds left. I mean, this is the thing. Super teams. This is to me a super team, right? You don't have not one. You don't have two. You have three players, legit players, all stars, and you making an all star team with your teammates. That's a super team. See, people will say Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen was a super team. People will say that Kobe and Shaq was a super team. But when you start talking about, um, look at all the failed super teams that happened. Y'all got a lot of failures in this era. We seen a failure too. I remember when the Rockets got Charles Barkley and Scottie Pippen. You know what I mean? And they were just one play away of going to the finals. An old Charles Barkley at that. Exactly, Chess. Man, Derek White, man, he could play anywhere. Anywhere. And not only that, E-Dog, check this out. This is all factual information. Go look at the video on YouTube when Dwayne Wade called Jay Reed after after Kobe won his fifth championship, right? This was the story that they was passing on to everybody at that time, right? They were saying that all the narrative was at that time by Nick Wright, Nick Wrong, that Boston created a super team just to beat LeBron James. Well, all these narratives about him is coming to fruition because check this out. Dwayne Wade came out of his own mouth and said Kobe Bryant won his championship. He called LeBron James and asked him what you doing that summer. And then the super team was born. Name a super team that you see. You 24 years old, so name it. But by me, all my years of watching basketball, I watched 4 decades of basketball, right? I ain't never seen a super team that got praised so much. Cause LeBron, why you think LeBron could play with everybody and their mama, and he don't get no kind of smoke, but then he'll sit there and discredit somebody too. Now they saying Chris Bosh wasn't was a part wasn't a big three. Then they say Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving and LeBron James was not a super team, but they'll kill KD, Steph Curry, and them for being a super team. It doesn't make any sense. Remember when James Harden, KD, and Kyrie tried to form that super team in Brooklyn? They had the best roster that they could buy. But guess what? They traded away all them dudes. And they got Steve Nash as a coach. You see what happened to him now. Now all of a sudden he's Minding the Game podcast. Season 2 with Steve Nash. Uh I'm gonna have to say yes, but only reason why I give the edge to Paul Gasol because y'all got to remember when he played with Jay Reed, he couldn't score in the post no more. Now he had to be he got to hanging out the 3-point line. Carlton Towns missed a layup. Not only that, but you gotta keep it real though. Only reason why Cleveland won that series, though, in my opinion, and this is the only reason. Once Andrew Bogut got hurt, that's why LeBron was able to attack, and then they suspended Draymond Green though too. But because the NBA, you got to remember, Jay Reed went on the witness stand, testifying to everybody, try to tell on somebody. And I think they need to look at that. You know, you don't say that. You don't say those kind of things on the basketball court. You know, that's how let me know you ain't been around nobody really played that ball, man. It's a 10-point ball game. It's a turnover. You try to feed Porzingis. Hey, this is the thing, though, Ezal. I can't stand Draymond Green. You know, but I can't stand that player. I don't like him as a basketball player because he's another one that's with the shenanigans too, of not respecting anybody. He's what's one of my favorite saying. People show you who they are. Just give them time. They're gonna show you that here who they really are. But yeah, but at the same time, the NBA did get them though. The NBA did gift LeBron. They did. There's so many ways the NBA helped LeBron. I'm gonna tell you another reason how. It was game 2 in 2012 NBA Finals. KD's clearly got smacked by Jay Reed on the wrist. You heard it on live national TV. There was no foul. There was no foul. There was no foul. And I think that block and another one when he blocked when the Indiana Pacers had him on the ropes, when he blocked Victor Oladipo, that was a goaltend. But you know, it is what it is. It's a 5-point ball game. Boston out here playing with their food, shooting all these 3-pointers. And the Knicks, despite their shooting woes, they're only down by 5. And Mitchell Robinson died to the ground. That's going to be a jump ball. There's a lot of stuff. And people in the comments, you know, we ain't lying to y'all, man. LeBron got so much help from the NBA. Why do you think he's the only NBA player that can get all these players? Look how many trades this man had in his whole entire career. He had more trades in NBA history than Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant combined, and they still ain't even close. That was good hustle by Mitchell Robinson. They're going to jump ball this. Yeah, they're going to jump ball it. And here come the Celtic. Pritchard, corner 3, short. Mitchell Robinson with another rebound. Here come Bridges down by 5. New York still hanging around. Here's Payne out of Murray State. Gives it to Bridges. And Karl-Anthony Towns draws a foul on Jaylen Brown. That's why JB act like a spoiled brat. They act like Jay Reed's the only one played with bad rosters. Man, yeah, you got certain players, yeah. But they gave that dude so much power, too much. That's why the league's going down in blunders. Cause you check this out. Go look at the video. Go look at the numbers when Michael Jordan was playing basketball. Even when Kobe was playing basketball, it dropped. But then compared to Jay Reed era, man, it'll surprise some people. As Carlton Towns gets rejected, he wanted a foul. Here's Jaylen Brown, White wing corner three, no good. And they got foul on Anthony Towns. Mm-hmm. Nice pass. Derek White to Luke Kennett. Josh Hart pump faking. Throws it up. He wanted an and one. As Brown gets doubled. Derek White saves it. Here's Jason Tatum. Crossing over. Bridges locking him up. Tatum drives. That's about to be a turnover. Nope. That should be. That's New York basketball. Good defense right there. That looked like a turnover ready to happen. They was playing too much hot potato. Kobe used to kill Duncan. Go look at Kobe, what he did to that man head to head. And he did it harder. And it was during the time. I think him and Tim Duncan are the greatest players in that era. As Jaylen Brown with a nice finesse move layup to the basket. That's the Knicks call time. Man, if he had Tim Duncan, bro. That would have been crazy. Oh yeah, Bruce Brown. Yeah, we've seen defenses. We've seen all the great ones, man. That's why Bruce Brown and shot of Shane Battiers, Tony Allen. He always played great defense on Kobe. You know, a shout out to my boy Quentin Richardson. Quentin Q was nice too. Hey Q. Tony Parker was cold too. And this, you got to think about it. During that time, it was Kobe and Duncan. You had to have 50 wins you had to make the playoffs. And just because you didn't have 50 wins, you wasn't gonna make the playoffs during those times. And there was a lot of great defenders. You had Dennis Rodman, you had Dale Davis, Antonio Davis, Davis brothers, no relation. And you had a lot of great dudes back then that could play that position. Yeah, you had a lot of players that really could play that position. You really did. That because that's because that's because they put in that play in. They adopted that play in. Because I'm so old, I can remember the first round of the playoffs first round used to be the best of five. Then it went to, and I remember the NBA finals used to be 2-3-2. You know, 2-3-2. I think the last year they stopped doing that. What year they stopped doing that, Chess? What year they stopped doing the 2-3-2? Was it the 2000 I think was it the 2013-14 series year, I think. Oh yeah, AK-47. Yeah, Utah has some dudes, bro. And that's why I tell these youngers, man, every team has some dogs, man. Adrian Dantley is another name come to mind. Adrian Dantley was a beast. You know, they did him dirty. Yeah, I think it was 2013, kind of, because, yeah, I think so too, because I remember, could you remember Miami won all three games. They had KD crying in his mama on his mama's shoulder. They didn't want They didn't want KD to win. That's why they hate KD. Because when KD went to the Warriors, he had a winning record doing it compared to Jay Reed. And the media killed him. Did not give him MVP, but they gave Jay Reed MVP by playing with two other All Stars. Hey, you young saying that, but that's how us older people feel too. If you don't make the playoffs, you don't make the playoffs. Man, look how sorry Utah has been ever since Derek Williams, shoot, I can't even say. Uh, I was thinking about Darren Williams, and I was thinking about Carlos Boozer, but then I thought about look how after Michael Conley and what you call it left, Michael Conley and Spidey and Joe Ingles, who looked like Glass Joe. Nate McMillan was not an overrated. Nate McMillan wasn't. Hey, this is my thing with black coaches, right? Nate McMillan. A lot of people forget about Nate McMillan. He played. He played with the Seattle Supersonics. You know, and you remember Trey Young got him fired, and look what they dealing with now. They got Quinn Snyder. You think Quinn Snyder should be in the league? Shout out to my boy Italian, man. And we just sitting there watching this. As Jalen Brunson shoots a layup, sitting there chopping up and watching this game. Man, we just doing it. Y'all, I don't care what anybody do, man. Tap that like button, man. Tap that like button. I did want to donate some. It's pinned in the chat. If not, ain't no worries. Show gonna go on anyway. It's hard. Gets it to Brunson. Brunson stopped. Got him in the air. Gets it blocked. He wanted contact. I never seen so many players want to foul and don't get back on defense and be crying. I never seen so many players in this era, man. They cry more than the players back then. Those are facts to me. And got another offensive rebound. They're gonna shoot another three. I'll tell you. That's all they do is shoot threes, and they made it this time. Man, like get like 3 or 4 offensive rebounds. They're gonna shoot a three every single time. They are 1 for 8 from three, and the Knicks answer back as Anunoby hit a 3 ball. It's Jaylen Brown crossing over, stops in the paint, and he got an and one on Josh Hart. He said he can't stop me. He can't guard me. Jaylen Brown got 13 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals. He makes a 3-point play, and the C's are up by 10. What is New York going to do? Is Jalen Brunson dribbling the air out the ball. Now he finally passes it. Anunoby shoots another 3, air ball. Connect with the rebound. Cornette. Jason Tatum in the paint, gives it to Jaylen Brown, 3-ball. That's an air ball. Lord have mercy. And the Knicks just gave it right back to him. Lord have mercy. You're seeing some sloppy basketball right now. Here's Jaylen Brown. Going to work. Gets in the paint. Gets it to White. He pump fakes. He shoots a 3. Try to draw a foul. And they gave it to him? Wow. That's 2 quick fouls right there. I wasn't even on him. He wasn't even guarding him. So how's that a foul on Josh Hart? First free throw is good. I don't see how that was a foul on Josh Hart because he made both free throws. Oh, he almost traveled. Hart got to shoot it. He does. Free throw. Connect with the rebound. He tips it out to Jrue Holiday. That's White open for 3. He's on fire. He's on fire. They up by 16. But again, Celtics known to blow leads, so we're going to see how they're going to finish this game out, but they're up by 16 right now. Man, they got another Mission Impossible. And they got another Karate Kid. What's going to be next? Another Fast and Furious? Well, to answer your question, this was what because when it comes to like the relationships with me, I had to learn relationships myself. Because when I wanted to talk to relationships when I was younger, nobody didn't want to talk. They didn't have time to talk, so I had to learn my way. And then everybody's different, but you you really got to find somebody who really is got your beliefs and everything like that, and everything, you know, because a good woman looks after you, a real woman pray for you, a praying woman, you know what I mean? That's and they ain't not. I know society makes it seem like it's hard. It ain't hard. It ain't hard. You just got you at that age where you got people that don't want to settle down. You know what I'm saying? Like they just don't want to. They still want to live their best life. But as long as you continue to just stand firm with what you believe in and carry yourself as a man, trust me, the right one will come along. But you got to have engagement and conversation, you know, because every man is different, every woman is different. Some men wants them rowdy women, crazy, all in the head and all that. Some women like men to be that way though too. It goes both ways. So with me, I prayed on it and worked on myself first. Then once I got it myself and I was in that position where you know what, I've been through some things in relationships. I'm just gonna chill out. Just gonna chill out and just continue to work on myself. And then once I worked on myself and I was actually able, because I didn't think it actually exists either. Honestly, I didn't. I didn't. I didn't think it existed at all. I lived in a time where I lived in a time when everybody thought the '90s was the best time to find love. Shoot, I only know a few people that I know that are still together from the '90s. You know what I mean? And shout out to the ones that I do know that are actually still together. Shout out to y'all. You know what I mean? But everybody's different. Just continue to work on yourself, man. One thing about the man upstairs, man, he knows your heart, man. He knows your heart, man. And just pray about another thing too. This is what I learned. You got to pray what kind of woman you want, because you can sit there and say, I want a good woman, I want a good man," and then at the same time, you got to be specific too. So and then hey, you're gonna have that revelation period one day. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but you're gonna meet a woman that everything that you've been praying for, she got everything that you asked God for. That's how I got mine. I'm just keeping all the way a thunder. And listen, youngin, I'm in my mid 40s, bro. No kids, no nothing. You dig what I'm saying? A real woman will pray for you. That's for real. A real woman is not going to. Praying woman is not going to tear you down. A praying woman doesn't like drama. A praying woman, all the praying women I know, they, they are not like that. They big on family. They, you know, just them and they husband or their wife. As long as Ginobili throws it down, and the Knicks trying to make a quick run, they're down by 10, under 2 minutes left. Yes, absolutely, it's important. You gotta know how to be alone for a while. Cause I know I've been alone. Well, I was alone for a long time. I had to, cause you gotta heal them extra wounds, man. Because if you don't heal them extra wounds, and then you can have the right one, you can have you. You're gonna, and then not only that, you're gonna meet a lot of women that's really on your level, but then at the same time, you might not be ready. Let me say, and one for Drew Holiday. Yeah, I waited a long time for everything. I waited a long time to date and do anything in life. I waited a long time for everything. I didn't care what nobody thought about me, how I did things and everything like that, because they wasn't in my shoes. As Brunson steps into a three, he's on fire. They're down by 10 again. Celtics playing around too much, but if it wasn't for Derek White, that was almost a steal by Anunoby out of Indiana. Yes, that is very true. As Drew Holiday fell, it's Brunson full speed ahead. He pulls it out. He drives. He stops. He's looking. Find Josh Hart. 10, 9. They're looking for Karl-Anthony Towns. Nice pass. Nice pass to Josh Hart. And the Knicks only down by 8. Hey, there's some women that feel the same way too. I know some women that I met in my lifetime, right? They was married. They was married. Some didn't have any kids. And some did have kids. But the husband, left, went on a pass, and they they said they'll never remarry ever again. They'll never mess with another man again, and they never have. You see what I'm saying? You got some men or some women, as soon as they see the man or their husband or their wife on the sick bed, boom, they gone. They finding the next things out. He said, I think it was good for inmates, because the lead Brad Stevens got them on Butler talk. Yeah. Yeah, you always said that, Chess, though, too. You have me really noticing that too. Yeah, because they played like the style like Butler had when he was at Butler. But it's a 9-point lead at the half, y'all. As we look at the stats right now, the Knicks shooting 38%, 3 of 13 from the line, 4 of 4 for the free throw line. Uh, Turnovers, they got 7. Both teams got 7 turnovers apiece. As for the Celtics, they're 19 of 50, 38%, 5 of 21 for 3, 23.8%. They're 7 of 10 from the 3. They 9 of 21. There was 9 offensive rebounds, excuse me. They got any plus 5 in that. And they got 34, so they're plus 7 on the glass. It's the Celtics. Wait a minute, they got 8 assists. To 10 assists. 4 steals. The steals is tied, but then when it comes to the turnovers, that's tied. But it's an ugly game right now. All you see is nothing but 3-pointers, clank, 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 clank. 3-pointer. I get another offensive rebound. What I'm going to do? Shoot another 3-ball. Get another offensive rebound. Go stand at that. That's all you see in this era. There ain't no tack in the paint. Now the big men now got to shoot threes. That's why the lane be so wide open. You can't hand check no more in this era either. Yes, that is very true. But then we also living in a time now where people gonna rebel against that. I never seen so many. I just talk about from my experience, right? I never seen so many people will, will believe everything that society says. It's not, they're not going by what they family values are. Again, I know some people that was raised right, and they still honor society way, which is man. You know, you got people now. They swingers. You got people now. They swingers, and what else? And they married and have. And my girl got a girl. All that crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? As some people say, living the best of both worlds, but it's not really the best of both worlds because you know how many spirits. It's deep, man. You said Jalen Johnson is the Hawks' best player. I mean, yeah, he was. I mean, Trey Young. I mean, a lot of people say he's the best player on the team, but he don't play any defense. But he don't even try on defense. But it's interesting what the Hawks going to do because they got the rookie of the year. No, not the rookie of the year. They got the most improved player. From Australia. You know, so I don't know because you got Quinn Snyder there looking like, and he looked like the cat in the hat. He looked like he could be in what's that dude's name? I can see his face now. He had like he could be in one of them movies, man. Yeah, they deep. Look, but look at all these teams that are actually good and deep, Chess. Where the coaches at? Like, where's a good name? A good coach I actually can. You can't even hold. Yeah, Johnny Depp. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was just thinking his name. He's like he could be in a Pirate of the Caribbean or something. You know, I was just thinking about that. Man, I was trying to think of his name. That's what I was thinking about, Johnny Depp. Yeah, ain't gonna be like how I was the other day. Was Monday. I messed around and turned it. It was a 20-point lead, and then next thing you know, everybody telling me the Knicks came back. I'm like, what? And then I had to go back and rewatch the game again. Yeah, he coached them, but he's still not a good coach to me. He just occupying a job. Well, look how sorry the Jazz been since Donovan Mitchell and everybody else been gone. Look how sorry everybody been. Look how sorry they are. I mean, all the Duke coaches suck, huh? No disrespect, Polo. Shout out to my boy Polo, straight to the point. No disrespect, Polo, and my boy Real Easy. You Dookie fans of Jonathan McFarland. Y'all Dookie coaches in the NBA, they suck. They don't do that no more. See, back in the day when I was growing up, they actually had that. They actually used to talk about all the NBA teams like they really did. I remember when they actually used to have an NBA preview. They always used to sit there and talk about these other players, these other teams, and all that. They don't do that no more. The landscape of basically changed. You don't even have real reporters no more. Like the Stuart Scotts, rest in peace, John Saunders. You know what I mean? Just the list goes on and on. They was the last of the dying breeds. And after that, journalism went out the window now. You know, because back in the day when they used to talk, when we used to see the NBA games, they had players that really played the game, won championships. You know what I'm saying? So they do here in the NBA though too, but they didn't have the careers like the other players that I grew up watching. That was actually on the ones and twos talking about it. Them dudes was the man on the squad. They was the one that they was the main leader on the squad. Yeah, fast. Even the young Clippers, fast. When they had Quentin Richardson and yeah, man, hey, Chess. Back then, man, it was rivalries back then. It was real basketball rivalries. Every team had a different playing style. Everybody, it's just I never thought in a million years that basketball would be like this. Every team had a big man that could score down in the block. Every team had snipers. Every team had enforcers. They just didn't have one. Imagine seeing enforcers that two or three enforcers on the team. Everybody had them back then. Everybody just think Detroit Pistons was the only one. No, every team had enforcers back then. Yeah, they had Corey Maggette and Miles. Yeah, Miles was out of high school. CJ Miles. Yeah, facts. Chad, we know these things, man. Most of these porters are bought and paid for. That's the thing. They are bought and paid for. And a lot of these journalists nowadays, though, too, is they're all following the script. ESPN used to be a standard. It used to be a standard. It ain't no standard no more. Expectations has really dropped off the face of the earth. Now you get praised for stats. Where back then they didn't care how many points you had. Did you win the game? No, that's what they used to do to Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt put up these numbers, but he lost. That's what they used to say. But now we come to this time now. But but he's still the GOAT. Again, analytics. There's so much stuff that's wrong with the game right now. They got rid of power. They got rid of point guards. Number one. First off, they got rid of coaches. Then they got rid of the enforcers, the OGs that could have. Look at all these players that got blackballed. Look how they did Melo. Melo should be up there on the scoring list too, but only one person had to make that. They blackballed him for 2 years. You see Melo work out, doing his little open runs and stuff. He still can go in the league and give you buckets. Look how they blackballed Boogie Cousins. Look how they did Lance Stevenson. Yeah, the small guards. Yeah, Monte Ellis and Lou Williams, and Monte was a beast. Monte Ellis out of Mississippi. Yeah, that dude was a beast, man. Lou Will from the A. I'm disappointed in Lou Will, man, because he ain't. Yeah, they were today. That's why, like, and shout out to the players who does keep it real. Because I always tell y'all this, y'all. I always tell y'all this, right? They, the media always find people that's going to agree with them on their. That they always gonna find. They don't ask the real basketball players who played against certain players and everything like that. You ever notice something? Quentin Richardson is shout out to Q, who went to DePaul. I remember him at DePaul. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day. And I remember he came out and said what he said. You notice ain't nobody came up to him and try to sit there and try to ask him anything about Jay Reed being the GOAT. You already know what he said. He said if it ain't Mike, he said Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant is in the place all by themselves. But if I have to throw another name in there, I have to throw in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And then if I have to throw another name, I have to say Wilt Chamberlain. It's just so many. It's just so many of them that you can honestly throw that. See, basketball back then, man, them dudes, it was all about, and man, them dudes played with injuries and everything. If them dudes, if them players could not play, like literally could not play, they wasn't gonna like out kind of stuff. Yeah, you didn't see them, but majority of the time, if they can walk or anything, they felt like they owed it to his teammates and owed it to the fans. That's what the players did back then. These players now, they don't care. They get in that bag. They can sit out how many games they want to and still get that bag. Best shooters in the '90s, man. You had Reggie Miller. You had Ricky Pierce. You had Chuck Person, Wesley Person. There was a lot of shooters. You had Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. You had AKA Chris Jackson. Then you had Dennis Scott. Then you had Danny Ainge. He could still shoot at that time. You had Mark Price. You had Mitch Richmond, Glenn Rice. Man, there's so many of them. And that's on top of my head. There's plenty of more I could say. It come to me in a minute, but oh yeah, I can't. How can I forget? Um, Man, I just had his name in my head. Even Alice English. He it was in the '90s. I remember watching him in the '80s. He led all small forwards in scoring in the '80s. Kevin McHale, one of the best local postmen in back in the day, would give you that work down low. get him on that block out of Minnesota. You know, the only person that can honestly guard, I seen can actually guard him, and they went to the same university. Klay Thompson, daddy, Michael Thompson. He's the only one I seen that can guard him. Kevin McHale was a bad boy. Ray Ray. You got you got Kobe Bean Bryant. Oh, I can't forget my boy Richard Hamilton. You can't forget about Rip was in there. Shout out to Kerry Kittles. Drazen Petrovic. Rest in peace, Drazen Petrovic was another dude. Nick Van Exel. Eddie Jones. Come on, man. There's so many dudes, man. We can go all day with this, man. There was so many great players in it ain't just the 90s. It's every single era. And Rip was the king of the mid range. You see what Rip do? Rip was another another Reggie Miller catch and shoot guy playing off screens. A lot of people don't remember Ray Allen was actually a ball handler, dunk on you, had that full game. Can score. I can't forget about Grant Hill, Trace McGrady. There's a lot of people there. There was a lot of players in the 90s, man. It was a lot of them. Big Dog, Glenn Robinson. Man, I'm telling you, man, they had some dudes back then, man. They're down by 12. I'm gonna stay on fadeaway. Nice fadeaway. Ben Wallace. Yeah, Ben Wallace was a beast out of Virginia Union. Ben Wallace was a beast. And they be acting like Jay Reed beat dad like Ben Wallace was on that team. He was even on that team when he scored all the points in the row because Ben Wallace went to Chicago and played for the Bulls. And the Pistons still made it to the Eastern Conference Finals because they still had the core of the team. They just lost their defensive anchor. Oh yeah, I can't get about Paul Pierce, AI. You know the list goes on, man. Marbury, Stephon Marbury. Come on, man. It's like it's so many great players, man. That's why I tell people all the time. I know what real players are. I seen them. They do have good players in this era. They do, but they don't play by the same rules. Because 2004 2005 season, hand checking was taken away. So Karl-Anthony Towns hit another jumper. Rasheed was nice. Rasheed had everything. Rasheed was nice. Rasheed could do it all. I can't forget about Half Man, Half Amazing. I can't forget about Vince. But Vince did his thing too. You calling the soft version of Sam Perkins? Oh man, Chess. Sam Perkins was nice though. Perkins was a beast. Nickname Big Smooth. allegedly. Yeah, Kakat dated Jordan Sparks, right? That's his old lady, right? Hey, E Dog, I can give you a good answer. I will know how these players will react because I just basically just told you this. They don't play defense in this era. Every era that they want to throw, they say to these players that could play in, they had defensive players that they played defense. Everybody in that era played defense. Even if you wasn't, they have man, they have so many. Every team had great defenders. You say who's the better coach, George Karl or Doc Rivers? Ooh, I gotta give it to Doc. George Karl wasn't a likable guy. Yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't a likable guy. But yeah, y'all been on here too long, man. I'm gonna sit back and relax, stay up tonight, and watch these games because I don't have to go to work in the morning, dog. But I will be on bright and early, y'all. I will be up. I'll be on at 9 o'clock West Coast time, y'all. Y'all have a good night. I appreciate my boy Ron John coming through. Hey Trey, I know what happened. I did let you in, y'all, but you feel like, but we gonna do it again tomorrow, man. We'll do us free tomorrow in the morning, and y'all continue to hit that like button, man. Share, subscribe. If you want to donate to Old Head Podcast, I'll put it in the chat. If not, the show goes on. And my last words is this: Hey, Jay Reed, yeah, you, Jay Reed. I know you got people listening to these videos and stuff. Hey, Jay Reed, get Kareem back his basketball, man. Give Kareem back his basketball. That's all I ask of you, Jay Reed. Just give Kareem back his basketball. Please give Kareem back his basketball. And give it to him while he's living, while he's alive. Like, share, subscribe. I holler at y'all 9 o'clock West Coast time. That's if you're in the East Coast, it'd be 12 o'clock. If you're in the Central, it'd be 11 o'clock. And if you're in the mountain, it'd be 10 o'clock. So I'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Give that man back his basketball, man. Give Kareem back his basketball, because you don't deserve it anyway. Like, share, subscribe. I'll holler at y'all later. And shout out to everybody coming through, man. Shout out to Boy Heck Boy. Shout out to Cottage. And shout out to the new subscriber, E-Dog, man. 1234. We here. Shout out to my boy Know Your Boy, man. Shout out to my boy Greenleaf. Exclusive. Shout out to my boy Mr. Moss. Shout out to Herm with Herm. Hollywood Herm. Herm changed his name so many times too. Shout out to my boy Herm, Memphis Made. And who else I ain't mentioned? Oh, shout out to my boy S Dizzle. Shout out to S Dizzle. I can't forget about my boy S Dizzle. And shout out to man, I seen him on my boy Real Elise. Shout out my boy Elise. Shout out to Oaktown. Hey Oaktown. I've been working on it, man. I've been working on it. But one thing I do give them their credit, but I just draw the line of saying that they better than the other players in the past. That just had my head just going crazy. But anyway, Jay Reed, give Kareem back his basketball, man. He don't deserve that basketball, man. We all know why. Peace.